So I'm going to go through a presentation around tech returners. It should last probably about 25-30 minutes. And then if anybody has got any questions that they would like to ask me, please pop them in the chat facility as we go through the presentation, and I'm more than happy to answer them. So I'm Becky. I am co-founder and CEO of an organisation called Tech Returners. So we support people who have had careers in technology, who have had career breaks for a number of reasons, re-enter technology through reskilling. So just to give you a little bit of background around who we are. So just top line, so since 2017, we've enabled 52 people back into technology, 48 were women. And we're not stopping there. We've got great high hopes and plans as we go forward throughout the forthcoming years. So I'll just give you a bit of background around why Tech Returners was set up. So as I said, I'm Becky. My background is people, HR and talent. So I've been in that arena for the past 18 years. And the past 15 has been involved in the technology industry. So my last role before I set up Tech Returners was I sat as a HRD, as a leading tech consultancy. 7 years ago, I had my first child, Ethan, who is now 7. And it was my first experience of actually transitioning out and then back into a very high growth industry. So when I had my career break, I really underestimated the impact that it would have on me. So tech being such a high growth and high moving industry meant that things move so quickly, even though I had only a short-term career break. Events and conferences always tended to be in the evening. So and having a young family meant that I couldn't actually get out to attend some of those events. And all of this combined would really meant that it really impacted my confidence. So when I went back into my role as HRD, not only felt like I was a minority as a woman in tech, as there was a table of 13 and I was the only woman around that table, but I also felt that I was a minority as a parent in tech. So I reached out to my network and I co-founded a community meetup group called Women in the Tech North. So you can find us on meetup.com, and over the last 4.5 years, we've organically grown, and we're now the 3rd largest global women in tech community, which is absolutely amazing. So it was the work and conversations that I was having with the women and men in the community that it was a reoccurring theme, that where we were focusing a lot around talking about opportunities in tech to the younger generation in schools and colleges and do some fantastic work there. If we didn't look at retaining the talent at that established career where people have gone into tech but then potentially have come out of it for short-term or long-term career breaks through childcare, caring responsibilities, what we would create is a leaky bucket effect. We can pipeline the talent, but then we would lose that talent. This is backed up by through some statistics. So 56% of women leave the tech sector at mid-level. There's gender pay gap at 18.5%. 83% of tech businesses say that they struggle finding talent. And we have currently over 233,000 jobs with unmet talent needs just in the Northwest alone. So when I was hearing all these statistics and speaking to the people, I realised that there was an opportunity. So in 2017, Tech Returners was born, and we wanted to change that narrative and offer support and the right opportunities for people looking to re-enter technology after a career break. So how we went about and did this was we set up 2 very early stage pilot projects just to see whether there was an actual demand for people wanting to return back into the technology industry. Very under the radar, and it was few social media posts, and we were inundated with applications. So we had 2 pilot projects, the first being 100% female and the second one being 90%. And we took them through a reskilling program, which I'm now delighted to say that they've now transitioned into careers in technology. So after then, we wanted to expand the model, but really remaining true to our core value, which is accessibility. So accessibility means to us that nobody who goes through one of our reskilling programs has to pay. We believe that the barriers are high enough for people coming into the industry, and financial one shouldn't be that. And also accessibility from a study point of view. So all of our programs are delivered in the evenings or at weekends, making again it's accessible as people transition and upskill back into their careers. So once we reached out to some partners in Manchester, and we formed relationships with companies such as the BBC, Booking.com, NCC Group, Lloyds Banking, and we formed a number of relationships where we've had cohorts of where we've retrained, and then people have transitioned into established permanent careers with those organisations. And then last year, after the success of a programme that we run for the BBC in Media City, we then transitioned down and asked to run a programme in White City in London. And just to give you some statistics, for that programme, we retrain 16 people at one time, and they specifically focus on gender diversity, so it's open to women. And in 2 weeks, that they had to close applications because they had 23,000 applications just for 16 places. So I get asked quite a lot around there's not enough women in technology, how can we find more women? There is women out there looking to return back into the industry. We just need to create those accessible routes back into those opportunities. But the challenge still exists. So just to go over some research that we did with Manchester Business School last year, and these are some of the statistics that came out when we surveyed across the UK and segmentised this on the north of the UK. So 92% of employers in North UK experience a skill shortage in tech. And they, on average, were paying £9,000 for an average cost of a tech vacancy by paying a recruitment agency. And also then 97% of employers admitted that their roles lack diversity. So those statistics were again telling us a big story. And as I mentioned before, we've got 233,000 jobs with unmet talent needs alone. And we really needed to think about a different way of looking at this. And just in the Northwest, there's just short of 4,000 women who are on a career break that are looking to return back into technology. So we knew that the numbers didn't add up. But what were the businesses doing to help themselves, and what was the problem? So we looked at it from a returner's perspective. So there's 60% of women returning to career said that work-life balance was the biggest barrier. And we're interested in that, should see that, and it'd be interesting as obviously we sort of transition out of the pandemic, and obviously companies more and more now have had to embrace remote working and agile learning working, and whether that actually then does make an impact in terms of gender diversity. I truly believe, looking at a positive, that I think a lot of organisations will empathise with people now who have been on career breaks, because a lot of people have to go, unfortunately, through that over the past 3 months. So returners also experience an average of £4,900 on an average drop of their salary after a career break. And businesses, 47% of them said that they looked at gaps on their CV less favourably, and that 43% of returners experienced a reducing position after their career break. 74% of the women that we spoke to said that they believed organisations can do so much more to attract returner talent. And 79% of returners say they experience no support when returning after a career break. And then 29% of them said women in tech on a career break say that have doubts about returning. I've seen a lot of organisations now that are starting to look at this. I work with an organisation called Emis Health, and they're really focusing on returners, and not just in terms of long-term returners, but maternity returners. So they help and then support them transition back into organisations, and also look to train and educate line managers to support that transition from their perspective as well. So what are the programs that we deliver? So Your Return to Tech is an 8-week, currently 100% remote learning program, which is delivered by industry-led projects and aimed at mid-senior talent level. So in terms of our technical team, we have as a combined over 32 years experience. All of our tech coaches have had and are currently our software developers, DevOps consultants. So they have the relevant commercial experience and knowledge to deliver the training. So how the training works, you come to us over an 8-week period after going through an application program. As I said, there's 16 people that go through the upskilling together. And we have companies that sponsor places on our program, so enabling us to deliver it for free. Those sponsors then provide us with Tech for Good projects, which then are allocated to a squad of 4. And over the 8 weeks, as you're upskilling, you also have the ability to work on a tangible project. So you're replicating the commercial environment by getting involved in sprint reviews and getting involved in tech teams within organizations, but also again, hearing from the companies themselves. Some of the technical elements that we teach are listed here. So we look at, in the first week, agile, pair programming, test-driven development, version control, object-oriented design, and programming fundamentals. Apologies, I'm not sure what happened then. The system threw me out, but hopefully you can back hearing me again. So let's see where I was up to. So I was talking about that it wasn't just in terms of technical skills. We focus on personal development as well. So there's the areas that we focus on. Our talent and people team, we've got over 30 years experience. So as I mentioned, my background is I was HRD and worked in the talent industry as well. And Matt and Bobby, who are on my team, they've come from similar experiences working with companies such as Bosch, Studio Retail, and also Misguided. So we've got experience around to help people transition back into technology. So, but how we work with businesses, so businesses who work and sponsor places on our program have an 8-week engagement program. So it gets, so from a returner's perspective and also a company's perspective, you really get to know each other over that 8 weeks rather than the usual, say, 3-hour interview that you get when you're applying for a role. So some of the opportunities that they have to present to returners are in terms of a welcome event, so where they share more about their organisation. They're invited to do lightning talks, so like a day in the life, about how they've got into technology and what opportunities they've had. And they can do office site visits. Now, interestingly, some of those have been done remotely, which has been really interesting, and so it's not losing those experiences. And also work shadowing, again, those opportunities have been delivered remote currently. So they also get regular liaison with us as a talent and people team, and we support them on their interview structure and format, and also help with their onboarding. We've just recently had 5 returners on board with Auto Trader on Monday, and we very much in support of their process, and that's really gone successfully well around that. So as I said, from a business perspective, when you support a returner, it's basically you're sponsoring a place in that program. So for us to deliver that cost and that reskilling for free, so there's no cost for the returner. So you're not just supporting that returner, but all the returners who follow in those footsteps. We want to really reach out to as many returners as possible to make sure that they have those opportunities that sometimes that they don't think that is possible, which is really, really important. So these are some of the organisations that we've been supported by. Booking.com, they did a programme with us and successfully hired engineers and also software engineers and DevOps engineers, which is amazing. Infinity Works, they've recently took on 2 ladies, both with previous experience, and one of those ladies is now working on an NHS digital project. Lloyds Bank have worked with us, and Sarah, who's joined them from a military background and now works in their DevOps department, and Portia, who has a teacher in STEM, who's now one of their QA testers. Auto Trader, who I mentioned, and BBC, which I gave the stats for before, have took on a number of engineers who have also been successfully promoted over the time that we've worked with them as well. And we're really pleased to say that all those people that have gone in and transitioned into those organisations over the 2.5 years are all still there as well. So the retention is absolutely amazing. But there's so much more to be done. We've just successfully launched into London and have a programme running in September, which is met with some fantastic positive feedback from a returner's perspective, but also from a company's perspective. But we don't want to stop there. We've got very, very high ambitions to scale globally, really creating those opportunities that people didn't think were possible, and just basically carrying on doing something that we're massively passionate about. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions in the audience, please pop them on the chat facility. Or if you would like to get in touch with us to have more of a one-on-one conversation about opportunities, either from a returner perspective, also from an organisation perspective, you can drop us an email at hello@techreturners.com, or find us on social media at techreturners, or you can find me on LinkedIn under Becky Taylor. So I'll just wait a second just in case there's any questions. No. Well, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. It's an absolute amazing conference, and thank you very much for being part of it. And I hope you enjoy the sessions this afternoon. Oh, sorry, I've got a question come in before I stop. How do you manage to keep your programs for free? So as I briefly mentioned, companies that we engage with sponsor places on our programs. So they sponsor basically the cost of the training for us to deliver it for free. So basically enabling more and more people to come and reskill with us. So and from a company's perspective, it is absolutely a fraction of what they normally pay in terms of recruitment fees. I think the statistic off the top of my head is just under 50% of what they would cost from a recruitment agency. Question: how long does someone have to be away from tech to classify as a returner? So our current application process is we say 6 years. However, we do say that get in contact with us. Everybody's circumstances are different. We welcome those conversations. So we've got a dedicated lady called Kate who talks to all of our returners to find out a bit more about you. You can find out a bit more about us and whether it's the right opportunity. So if it is something that you're looking to just find out a little bit more, and please just drop us a line and we can have a conversation. The next cohort in London is due to start on the 7th of September. Interestingly, we did have it penciled in to start in August when we thought nobody could go anywhere during the summer holidays. And then obviously things changed and people were allowed to go on holiday and now not allowed to go on holiday. But we made the decision to start it when the school term goes back in September. Applications are open to the 14th of August. Again, you can find that on our website, but if you want any questions before then, just drop us a line at hello@techreturners.com. How do we get our participants? A question I get asked an awful lot, and I've just been on a call with the company this morning. We've built up a massive community, just not from a tech returners point of view, but for women in tech. A majority come from referrals. So when someone's gone on our program, then they go out to their alumni of maybe their education or where they used to work, and then that message just escalates. So we built up quite an established brand. So yeah, there's not like one route in terms of where that's successful. It's all various different angles that we look at and get a number of applications through there. Where you should look in terms of where we sort of advertise, I'm presuming. So you can look on our website at techreturners.com and you'll see, if you click on our website programs and it's your return to tech, that will give you an overview of all the program, and also then it'll say apply. It'll take you through the application process, and basically on the application process we just look to understand a bit more about your experience and a bit about why it's the right time for you. So it's quite a straightforward process, but again, if you would like a conversation with any of us before you apply, please do get in touch. I hope that's answered all your questions. Would love to hear from some of you that are interested in doing the programme. So yeah, please come and reach out and have a conversation. But thank you very much for listening to me. Have a lovely rest of the day, and thank you for watching. Speak to you soon.